I've been in Brighton for about 10 years. I had a brief stint in Seattle when I was working out there for the British Consulate, but I've been back in Brighton for quite a while, doing lots of creative things. I came back to do my Masters about 7 years ago. So I'm a freelancer, so I screen print. My main passion is screen printing, so it's kind of a very... it's a form that hasn't changed much at all since it was invented. People use screen prints for t-shirts and what have you. I make fine art posters and gig posters and stuff like that. I live in Brighton because the sea is pretty awesome, and I just like the fact that it's there. Even though I don't visit the sea all the time, it's just like, it's nice to have, I don't know, it's like a renewal or something that seems to happen with the sea. It's kind of helps to keep things less stagnant. It just kind of helps to keep things moving. I feel like it's easier to make art now because I feel like I've got a huge chunk of my life out of the way. Things haven't always been that easy for me, and I felt like a lot of my life was to do with survival, whereas now I'm at kind of a point in my life where I feel a lot happier with myself, and my world kind of reflects that now. It got to a point a couple of years ago where I felt really distressed about life, and I felt really unhappy with the way things were going, and I really wasn't sure what was wrong with me, and I tried everything I could to try and be happy, and to do with my relationships, to do with how I dressed and the way I looked, and so forth. And I realized that it was really a do or die kind of situation. I couldn't carry on the way I was. I felt like I was living my life as some sort of lie. And I just really wanted to get to that authentic me, and in order to do that I started on this path a few years ago to medically transition. I was so worried and so afraid that people wouldn't accept me for who I really was. At some points it felt easier to just check out of life, and just not have to deal with any of that. I kind of thought that maybe I'd wait until my parents died before I transitioned, and I wasn't even sure whether transitioning would make me happy as well. So I was really in a bad way, and I had to concentrate on that side of my life before I could make really good art. Before I could, not that I make good art, but before I could just concentrate on my job and basic things like that. I felt so much shame around telling my friends or telling even my GP about how I felt. And my first GP wasn't very supportive at all, and then I switched GPs and had a new one, and yeah, it was a really tricky time. It was pretty horrendous, and I'm so glad I'm here now to kind of just to be able to tell the story, because it could have been totally different. And I know for a lot of people, the statistics for transgender people who try and live their lives, the suicide rate is pretty high. I think it's 50%. Yeah, the future's pretty golden actually. I'm very excited about the future. I've got a few exciting projects underway, providing I can get hold of a really decent camera, but the plan is to make a documentary about the fluidity of gender, because I think that's what's lacking in documentaries I've seen about transgender people, and I just don't think it's that black or white. It's not just that somebody's born male and they feel like they should be a female, or vice versa, or whatever. I think that we exist somewhere in between, and all of us have that ability. If you imagine gender as one spectrum and sexuality as another spectrum, I think we move around that quite a lot throughout life, and or just depending who we are, we kind of identify with different parts of that spectrum. So I'm kind of fascinated by that, and I'm very fascinated by people who exist outside those boxes that we put people in, or exist outside of the definition of female or male. My fears were the biggest things that stopped me from being who I am, and it's not a crime to be who I am either. So it's a wonderful, very simple realization, but it took me a really long time to get to that point. So with hindsight, I would have done it as a teenager. I'm in my 30s now, so it's been a really long journey, and I'm glad that I didn't give up, I suppose.